This stunning looking bike is a brand new Canyon Lux Trail, and in this video I'll point out all the changes and some things I really like, and I'm here in the Forest of Dean to go for a first ride and see how it performs. There will be a more in-depth long-term review in the future, so make sure you are subscribed to the channel if you want to see that. So what is the Lux Trail? It's a longer travel, slacker, more fun focused version of their Lux XC World Cup race bike, and they launched the first one about 2 years ago, which I reviewed, and I liked it, but I wasn't that impressed. It missed the mark in a few places. But this version has been redesigned from the ground up. That should hopefully, in theory, on paper, move it into that sort of downcountry space, if that's still a relevant term, to be a better bike away from the racetrack. The geometry features a slacker head angle and a steeper seat angle, the latter to put the rider in a better seated position and hopefully address the excessive length of the old bike. Suspension travel is about the same, 120 up front and 115 out back, but a key difference is a new hanging rocker linkage activating the top tube mounted rear shock. This allows Canyon to better tune the suspension to be more active, supple and supportive than the Lux XC World Cup race bike. And as it's a race bike at heart, there is a handlebar remote for the fork and shock to adjust from fully open to pedal mode and fully locked out. And we also have down tube storage, which we've seen on their road and gravel bikes and now coming to their mountain bikes. And the other change is one down here, which I'll talk about in a moment, a really exciting big change for the bike. So let's dive in and take a closer look. So let's look at the bike in a bit more detail, and the range starts from just over £3,000 and goes right up to £8,000 for this range topping CFR model. There's only carbon frames in this new lineup, there's no aluminium option, so CF SLX or CFR we have here. And lightweight is clearly still a focus for this bike, and the frame has a claimed weight of 2 kilos, which is pretty good. It's about the same as that Pivot Mach 4 SL and a Santa Cruz Blur, but it is about 300 grams heavier than that new Cervelo ZFS5, which I'm currently reviewing, and the Specialized S-Works Epic Evo as well. So light, but not the lightest in the world. There are some really nifty, interesting features on this bike, which I'll point out now. My favorite is the biggest shock with the new bike, and it is the bottom bracket, because there isn't a press fit like we normally find on a Canyon bike, but we have a threaded bottom bracket like most other bike brands are now going back to. And then we have space for 2 water bottles in the frame, just like on the Lux XC race bike. Got a 600 here on the seat tube and a 750 on the down tube. So great for long distance riding where you want to put water on the frame and not on your back in a hydration pack. The other cool feature is this. We now have a hatch on the down tube. They call it lay system. We have a really nice ergonomic dial, which I've never seen before, and that opens to reveal a CO2 canister on the end and a bag inside with a inner tube inside, which if I pull it out, it's quite tight in there, he says. So we had that satchel, if you like, with an inner tube, and underneath it there's tools and tie levers and a tubeless plug. I think that inner tube could be replaced with some plastic, thermoplastic inner tubes. You probably get 2 or 3 in there and save a bit of weight as well. So that's cool. And then if any bolts come loose on the bike, or you want to adjust your saddle height or stem perhaps, we have a multi-tool underneath the top tube there, which comes out like that. How cool is that? I do have concerns around that getting absolutely caked in mud during winter riding, but this isn't a long-term review yet. But I like the attention to detail. I'll try and get that back in there, see how easily it goes in. And interesting to see Canyon embracing frame storage. We had it on their Endurace road bike on the top tube, then the gravel bike on the down tube like this. But I like the fact we have this small lever. So that is how it goes together. Yeah, fairly impressive. So for that long distance, epic adventure, fastest known time, bike packing trip, got 2 big bottles, got all in tubes and spares in there, and a multi-tool ready to go. There are though a few possible gripes, and I'll see how they play out long term. We have some internal cable routing, so that could be an issue. I know lots of people don't like any form of internal routing, but we are seeing mountain bikes, especially racier mountain bikes, embrace it. Another one is the handlebar and stem. As with the road bikes, there's no way to adjust the width or the stem length when you buy the bike, but hopefully that's something that Canyon can address in the future. It must be feasible to do that. And the other one is, how the heck do you fit any accessories to the bar? So if you're doing a long distance adventure, you want your Garmin, you might want some lights and maybe a bag and other bits and bobs, but mounting stuff to this could be a challenge. There's no gear groove like on the Canyon Grail, so maybe a missed opportunity to have an accessory mount, a modular system on handlebar. So that is a potential issue, but this is first impressions, not a long-term assessment of those issues and how they actually impact the bike. Just worth sharing with you in case you are considering buying this bike. And I love the fact we have a dropper seat post as well. I can't ride a mountain bike without a dropper seat post these days, so we have a dropper seat post and a fairly short seat tube. So you could go for a longer dropper seat post. That would be kind of cool. Just get a bit more drop, a bit more clearance when you really, really need it. Right, time to see what the bike is actually like and put all the changes into action. So here, as I mentioned earlier, in the Forest of Dean, my local trail centre, the day after a massive storm ripped across the country. So it's going to be wet, muddy and very loose. But hey, UK winter, it doesn't change. So let's start with some climbing, get that out of the way early doors, and then some descending, and then talk about all-round performance and pedalling, efficiency and so on, and then give my first ride impressions verdict at the end of the video. So onto a climb, fairly smooth climb. We'll find a rougher one later. If I go to open, it pedals very well. If I look down, I can see the suspension move around quite a bit. It's quite active, it's bobbing, you could say. But when I'm riding, looking ahead, it doesn't feel like it's bobbing and doesn't feel anything but efficient. But if you're worried that bobbing is robbing you of speed, watts, efficiency, just twist the dial to pedal and it totally cuts out that excess movement, but it's still free to move for a medium impact. So I'm still getting good traction, still getting good comfort. It's not really hard. So between those two settings, open and pedal, it's a very well-mannered pedaling bike. And the weight of the bike means 11.6 kilos. It's definitely not holding me back. The limitation is me, my legs, my lungs, my fitness. And our rear suspension is way more active than the Lux XC World Cup, which I reviewed earlier in the year. That was a very firm suspension tune, almost reluctant to work. What you sort of want for racing is there just when you need it. But it's here all the time, really helping you to make progress and keep you nice and comfy as well, because if you're doing a long distance adventure, all that suspension will give you a smooth ride. Oh, and the other change, of course, is a slightly steeper seat angle, puts you a bit more forward over the bottom bracket for better pedaling performance. And that and the slacker head angle, this handlebar, gives me a nice fit. Don't feel cramped, feels nice. I can see myself doing a long ride on this for sure. So climbing box firmly ticked on this new bike. Not going to hold you back. Well, hey, it's so much fun. I love this section. Whoa. Good traction for your tyres. Oh, hook into the berm. Bit better time. Oh, nice. Get the tyres over. Back brake screaming a bit. It's not quite bedded in yet, but it will be soon. Bit more air time. Yes. Well, hey, it's light. It flies through the air. The bike's so settled over the bumps and through the corners. Just has so much more composure. I feel more control. A lot further away from the limit than on the Lux XC race bike, which has you feeling like you're on the limit all the time. And it's a very spiky limit too. This does feel like a mini trail bike, a mini spectral, a baby spectral if you like. This knee suspension offering from RockShox, the knee SID and the rear shock, fantastic combination. Such good quality suspension. Supple, sensitive, supportive, handles big impacts well. Plenty of stiffness from the SID. I can't get it flexing, not for this sort of riding anyway. This is a very niche product, this whole short travel, lightweight, progressive geometry setup, downcountry. If we still call it that, I don't know. Comment down below. The Transition Spur is my favourite bike from the last few years. Super lightweight, climbs like a stab rat, but a geometry number to let you descend as fast as you are capable of. And when that original Lux Trail came out, I did have high hopes for it, but I was so disappointed. Just didn't really live up to my expectations and just didn't click with me at all. Very fast and lightweight and efficient, of course, but didn't go downhill very well and definitely held me back. So hopefully the new bike addresses those issues, and it does seem from first inspection it does. All the changes are geared at making it a better all-round bike, and a bike that will let you have a lot more fun on the technical stuff. And I also want a bike that gives me more bandwidth, a bit more margin for error, shall we say, than a race bike. I'm not racing, I like riding fast but not racing, so I want a bit more freedom to carry more speed and have a bit more scope to kind of get away with stuff than you can on an XC race bike when it's like living on the edge a lot of the time. So a new bike is definitely a lot more fun than the old bike. I think the fun box has also been ticked. Not as fun as a Neuron or a Spectral on bigger trails, but retaining that lightweight, that efficiency. The bike's not going to hold you back in the climbs, but yet rewarding you, indulging you on a descent. It's my sort of bike. Of course, I'm flattered by the high-end equipment on this bike. It'd be nice to try a mid-range model to see how it compares, a bit more weight. So I do bear that in mind with these reviews, but it's just a first impression, remember. Long-term review coming in the next few weeks and months. Okay, ride done. I've got some washing to do when I get home, haven't I? What a state. So first impressions, it's a big improvement over the original Lux Trail, which is great to see. Better suspension, better geometry, just a better bike really. I love the frame storage, really neat feature. Bottom bracket, of course, and a specification on this range topping bike, but it is very spendy indeed. So first impressions, very good indeed, but I do plan to ride the bike for the next few weeks and give you a more long-term, in-depth review. Hopefully take it to some places where it's a bit less muddy, if that's possible in the UK. Got something particular in mind to put this bike and me to the ultimate test. So make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit that button down there if you want to see that long-term review. And that's all for today. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you all again very soon.